am at ETSI Security Conference, and I'm very pleased to be joined by René, who's going to talk about the IRIS project and the kind of challenges and what the project is about. René, thank you so much for joining me. Could you please start by introducing yourself a little bit and your background in security?
Yeah, well, I'm teacher at the Technical University of Catalonia in the computer science faculty for 19 years now, and well, I've been in cybersecurity for a while now. It's maybe 8 years or so.
Okay.
And well, my background is especially in cybersecurity, in networking and operating systems.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. And could you please introduce the IRIS project and what it aims to do?
Yeah, well, IRIS, first of all, it's not a common project in the sense that it's innovation action, which means that we try to build something that could be able to run in a real scenario. So this is something that we in academia are not used to that. So that's outstanding. And basically what we aim to do is to provide a framework to be able to, well, to detect cyber threats, to react to such potential attacks in IoT especially, and most important, to share this information among the CERTs and CSIRTs to be able to provide a framework where everybody can check this kind of information and be able to protect better the systems in Europe. And well, of course, then there is the protection phase where we try to protect the infrastructure, especially IoT, as I was mentioning, and later on the visualization of this data to be able to understand what's going on in the system.
Okay, thank you. And is this in real time?
Yes, the idea is we detect in real time cyber threats. This detection triggers our infrastructure, which basically it's a set of tools, integrated tools that allow us to abstract this information, this threat information. We publish that in a common database, and then from there we extract intelligence and then we act on the system. In fact, we have 3 use cases that I can explain to you about if you like, which cover exactly what I'm mentioning.
Yeah, I'll definitely ask about that. But just very quickly, for people who may not be familiar with the terms, CERTs and CSIRTs, who are you referring to?
They are teams of cybersecurity experts, which basically what they do is to check for threats, for cybersecurity threats, and they have very large databases which allow them to understand what's going on into the systems, and they provide good practices. They help people to secure their systems, and of course they react in case that something goes wrong.
Okay, fantastic. And very quickly, what is your involvement with the project specifically?
From UPC, we are what's called a stakeholder, which basically what we do there is that we help out in one of the use cases, and besides that, we provide the knowledge in cybersecurity in general to be able to detect those cyber threats, but we don't have a too technical involvement in this project.
Okay, fantastic. And you mentioned it earlier, but what are the use cases the project is specifically looking at the moment?
Yeah, well, as I was mentioning to you, one thing that I didn't mention is that we use IoT. I did say that, but what I didn't say is that we do that through machine learning, artificial intelligence. So it's a merge of both worlds. So we have smart cities. In fact, we have 3 smart cities. One is Barcelona, another one is Tallinn in Estonia, and the other one is in Helsinki. So basically, in Barcelona, what we do is to secure the tram, the tram in the city. In fact, the city council is part of the consortium as well. In Tallinn, we secure the autonomous vehicle that they have in the Tallinn University campus. And in the case of Helsinki, what we are doing there is to secure the smart grid infrastructure and the smart houses of inhabitants in Helsinki, that they control the houses through smart cities, let's say, and we are securing the infrastructure of already existing projects. So the projects are already working, and we on top of that provide the security layer.
Okay, and what are the main challenges here that you found when trying to use this to identify cyber threats in these environments?
Well, the first one and most obvious is the heterogeneity of scenarios. Of course, it's not the same to have a camera, for example, in the detecting people in the tram to be able to stop the tram, which is one of the use cases I was mentioning before. It's not the same that as making a smart car, a smart vehicle detect a red light to stop, because if not, an accident could happen. And it's not the same, of course, of trying to protect housing of citizens in our cities. So this heterogeneity brings lots of complexity, and we have to be able to abstract the cybersecurity concepts in a way that can be extrapolated to the three use cases in particular.
Okay, great. And just a question about the project in general. Is your thoughts that it would be replacing existing security operations, or is it kind of supplementing them?
It's complementary, because the idea in the project, we are not inventing new tools. We are integrating already existing tools in a way that allows us to extract the intelligence. So the layer that we are putting on top of what is already existing in the market, it's this intelligence layer and the collaborative database that will allow all the players to be able to interact with the whole system. So the key is not the tools themselves. Of course, they are necessary, but it's the abstraction that we do of them on top of that.
Okay. So it's, and you mentioned that you'll be using machine learning and AI in this system. How are you expecting to use that? Is that working real time as well?
Yeah, there are several things here. First of all, I'm not expert in machine learning, so apologies for the lack of concreteness in this. But the idea here is that we use machine learning techniques to be able to abstract data from the monitoring tools that we are already using. But besides that, we are also taking lots of care of guaranteeing that the data that is sent to these engines complies with regulations. For example, one of the problems that we find in machine learning is that you can know plenty of things which probably break GDPR or HIPAA or any of those regulations, and we are doing our best to be able either to anonymize that data or to send it in a way that cannot be extracted from there, because security, of course, it's important even for the infrastructure itself. So this is one of the key things that we are doing through machine learning.
Yeah, that's interesting that you brought it up about regulations and GDPR. I was just wondering how much a part of your project is ethics and that kind of data protection.
Yeah, well, we have a full work package on ethics, because it's very important for the project. And in fact, what we are doing is to find ways to be able to, what I was mentioning before, to send the data that needs to be sent and not everything. And each tool only has access to what it has to have, and not the whole set, because then you could break the regulations, of course.
And kind of building on this point, and as we are at ETSI Security Conference, how are standards related to your work here?
Yeah, well, the project, it has only 1 year old, so we are not yet in the stage where standards is something that we must undergo, but it's true that one of the key outcomes of the project will be standardization, yes. But it's too early to say that. We still have 2 years to go, and this is one of the tasks that will start later on in the project.
But is it something you're considering, I guess?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely. We are considering that.
And on that note, actually, can you talk a bit about the future work in this project, how it's going and how you plan to move forward with it?
Yeah, right now, within the project, what we are doing is to build this intelligence layer on top of the data that we already have. We are building taxonomies, which basically allows us to explain the cybersecurity threats in a generic way. And then the next stage will be to extract relevant data and to be able to close the loop, in the sense that we will need to revert that into cybersecurity actions, right, to protect the whole system, and to especially to detect in case that something is wrong. And well, that's pretty much it.
Okay, great. And I guess can you just further expand on kind of the benefits that an organization using this kind of system for, like you're saying, transport systems, automated vehicles, it can really bring, as opposed to kind of the more traditional cybersecurity routes that they've taken before?
Yeah, the first benefit would be to have decentralized database, which will be fed by all the systems within the infrastructure. This means that Barcelona City Council will publish the data regarding cybersecurity threats in our infrastructure, and the same with Tallinn and Helsinki. So fourth potential party would benefit from the knowledge and the intelligence that we obtain from these different use cases. In fact, one of the key things is to define very well those use cases to be able to extract as much information as possible.
Okay, so a big part of the project is sharing information.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
that's probably the key part of the project. And the more actors there are, the better the cybersecurity would be, because we will have more intelligence and more knowledge about what's going on into the infrastructure, of course.
Does that bring a bit of a conflict then? Because the more information you have, the better you can do the cybersecurity, but then the more information you have, the more data you have to protect.
Of course, and that's why the ethics part is very important. Yeah, of course, yeah. In fact, this is a concern of the Commission, and it's a concern from the partners of the project, of course. And we are taking lots of care to be able to do that in the right way.
Yeah, and it's not just your project, I guess it's many research work. And we've been talking a lot this week about 5G, how that's being rolled out and we're becoming ever more connected. IoT, that requires a lot of data collection as well.
Yeah, of course, and the anonymization part that is necessary, and then that cannot be mapped to a particular person, or it cannot be mapped to some individual that is doing something. So this is, in fact, in the Barcelona use case, for example, the cameras that we are using to detect pedestrians on the street, they only send data regarding the pedestrian, but not images.
Okay.
Just in case, to protect the GDPR and to avoid recording people on the streets, which it's kind of fuzzy if we can do that or not, right?
Great. Well, I'm afraid we've kind of come to the end of our time, but thank you so much for joining me and explaining a bit more about the project. I hope you have a great time at the rest of ETSI Security Conference.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be with you.